To automate Azure Synapse deployments with Terraform, start by installing Terraform on your machine. Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool that allows you to define and deploy cloud infrastructure using a human-readable configuration file. First, create a Terraform configuration file, typically named main.tf, and define the Azure provider. You will need to specify your Azure subscription ID, client ID, client secret, and tenant ID. This information can be found in the Azure portal. Next, define the Azure Synapse Workspace resource, including the name, location, and storage account. You can also define additional resources such as Azure Synapse pools, databases, and pipelines. Use Terraform's resource syntax to define each resource and its properties. To authenticate with Azure, use the Azure AD provider and define a service principal. This will allow Terraform to authenticate with Azure and deploy resources. Make sure to store your service principal credentials securely. Once you have defined all the necessary resources, initialize the Terraform working directory using the Terraform init command. This will download the required Azure provider and prepare the environment for deployment. Then, use the Terraform plan command to review the deployment plan. This will show you the resources that will be created, updated, or deleted. If everything looks good, use the Terraform apply command to deploy the resources to Azure. To automate the deployment process, you can use a continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline tool such as Azure DevOps or GitHub Actions. These tools allow you to automate the Terraform deployment process and integrate it with your existing development workflow. Best practices for automating Azure Synapse deployments with Terraform include storing your Terraform state files securely, using a version control system to track changes to your Terraform configuration, and testing your Terraform deployment in a non-production environment before deploying to production. By following these steps and best practices, you can automate your Azure Synapse deployments with Terraform and improve the efficiency and consistency of your deployment process.